Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So we got some great news, man. 2023 has been a spectacular year of boxing. It just keeps on getting better and better and better. The WBC has announced that SHAKUR Stevenson versus Frank Martin is going to be ordered. The fight is scheduled to go to purse bid, I believe, the first week of September. So we really don't know where this fight is going to be held at, which promotional outfit, which network is going to spearhead the fight. Because, of course, it's going up the purse bid. It gives any and everybody an opportunity, all the big players, an opportunity to bid for the fight and see who's willing to put up the most money. And this is a great fight, man. SHAKUR Stevenson versus Frank Martin. Huge fan of both of these guys. We got two southpaws, very similar in stature, both about 5'7", 5'8", 68-inch arm reach. SHAKUR Stevenson 20-0 with 10 knockouts. Frank Martin 18-0 with 12 knockouts. The power, on paper is pretty even. Depending on what you like, you can give the edge to either guy. SHAKUR got more of an accumulative power. Frank Martin can break you down too, but Frank Martin got more of a third in shot. So I think on the power edge, you might have to give it to Frank. With the experience, of course, by miles and miles and miles, is SHAKUR Stevenson is the more experienced fighter. Both guys are very intellectually sound in the ring, but I think SHAKUR edges that with the ring IQ. I think he's arguably the smartest fighter in the sport. Definitely one of them for sure. Overall boxing ability, I think SHAKUR Stevenson is more polished. Just on offense and defense, I think SHAKUR Stevenson is the most balanced fighter in the sport. When it comes to transitioning from offense to defense, giving you a steady dose of offense, but not ever neglecting his defense. He plays the hit and don't get hit game very well, to the point where it's almost like he can use his offense at will because he's so good at fighting you in close quarters, in the pocket, or from a certain distance. Again, another thing that SHAKUR Stevenson is great at, the ability to control distance. He's a master of distance, which allows him to swim without getting wet, to be able to stand right there in front of you, make you miss and make you pay, which makes his offense that much more dangerous because he don't have to move nowhere. He don't really have to do too much to get away from your shots, and he can get his shots off. Got a good balance of hand speed, one punch shots and putting them together with combinations. Good hand speed. Frank Martin, I think Frank Martin is better on the inside and in close quarters, as far as like making fights rough, going to the body, throwing punches in bunches, close up. I think that's where this fight is gonna get interesting as far as the distance. The reason why I wanted to see the Lomachenko fight, you see Lomachenko is moving on to try to fight Kambosos, a fight that they've been wanting to make for some time now. Lomachenko officially avoided SHAKUR Stevenson because that's obviously a bigger and better fight right now, but you chose to go fight Kambosos. Is a higher percentage that he can win that fight. So I'm calling Lomachenko on what he did as far as SHAKUR. I'm calling that a duck. You feel what I'm saying? I got no choice but to call it a duck. You know what I'm saying? But the reason I wanted to see SHAKUR Stevenson versus Lomachenko is because Loma is a southpaw. I haven't really seen SHAKUR versus a highly skilled southpaw on his resume under the lights. And I ain't talking about no sparring shit. You feel me? I'm talking about under the lights, with everything on the line. So I thought that Lomachenko would have been somebody who could maybe make SHAKUR Stevenson making adjustments, because his distance control is so phenomenal and it's so flawless at times. It's like, damn, what happens, you start thinking, what happens when somebody break that distance and make him move when he don't want to move? You feel what I'm saying? Or make him fight at a distance that he not necessarily comfortable fighting, maybe crowd him, maybe, give him angles and throw him off his pivot. And Lomachenko, we all know, is great at crashing the pocket and giving you angles on the inside and just making shit rough and tough, going to the body, going to the head. He throws a great straight left. Frank Martin also throws a great straight left, goes to the body well. You saw in the fight versus Jackson Marinez, he gave you angles. He reminded me a little bit of Lomachenko, but, a little bit stronger, bigger, and dare I say a little bit more athletic with more punch, with more pop on his punches. You feel what I'm saying? So, of course, he don't have the experience, the amateur pedigree, and just the overall boxing experience of a Lomachenko or SHAKUR Stevenson, but he definitely has those attributes that I thought Lomachenko could use on SHAKUR to push him. So that's going to be an interesting aspect in this fight. Frank Martin didn't look spectacular in his last fight versus Artem, who was a bronze medalist. Another guy with an extensive amateur background. The dude came to fight undefeated. He came to fight, he was a really good counterpuncher, had a really good overhand right. He was a tough guy. Frank Martin wasn't as active in that fight as I felt that he could have been, as Derrick James felt that he could have been, but he pulled out the victory. Played a lot of good defense in that fight, catching those shots that a lot of people was thinking was landing, but they really wasn't landing. When you go back and watch that fight, Frank Martin blocked a lot of those shots, and he landed, obviously, the more impactful shots to the body, to the head. He had dude hurt multiple times, made him take a knee. I believe in the 12th and final round. That was a WBC title eliminator, which afforded Frank Martin to be in this position to fight SHAKUR Stevenson. I told y'all in my breakdown of that Frank Martin fight that this is what Frank Martin and Mandow Promotion and Earl Spence, this is what they were wanting to put Frank Martin in a position to have, is this opportunity versus SHAKUR Stevenson. It's an equally beneficial fight for these guys because SHAKUR getting the name that he wants to prove his point that none of these dudes can't fuck with him, and he gonna look to make an example out of Frank Martin. And Frank Martin get an opportunity in the name, a big name, a 2-division champion, a silver medalist, who is highly respected in the sport on all levels, in SHAKUR Stevenson. And this is a guy, if you beat him, that puts you on elite status. That puts you in the conversations with the Devin Haney's and the Gervonta Tank Davises. You know what I'm saying? That puts you in them conversations. You feel what I'm saying? That puts you in the Lomachenko conversations. So this is a huge fight for both of these guys. And I got to say that SHAKUR Stevenson right now, as he should be, is the favorite in this fight based off of the experience, based off of the boxing ability and the skills. Even though Frank Martin, as what they would consider a prospect, somebody who haven't been very experienced and had a whole lot of fights, he got a really good resume for the amount of fights that he's had, considering the lack of boxing experience, starting boxing at age, 17, 18. So you look at the guys that he's been in the ring with, Jackson Marinez, Michelle Rivera, this dude Artem, who again was a bronze medalist. He's been testing himself time after time. So I think Frank is getting better. He's getting sharper. So he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in this fight. I think either guy can win this fight, make no mistake about that, but I think SHAKUR Stevenson definitely is going to have an edge as far as the experience. But I think it's going to be interesting because the same way I felt that Loma would push SHAKUR, I think Frank could definitely push SHAKUR and make him make some adjustments that we haven't seen him have to make. I want to see how he deal with a southpaw, that can be aggressive, that can also counterpunch, that can also move and box and give you angles. You feel me? And it ain't no huge reach differentiation between these guys because, they both 68 reach. So we're going to see who control that distance better. We're going to see who foot game is better when it comes to controlling distance and countering and feigning and, you know, setting up shots and setting traps and shit like that. So this is going to be a great fight, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. What's y'all initial thoughts on Shakur Stevenson versus Frank Martin? Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.